Okay. Everybody that dies right now goes to sleep. They don't go to hell or heaven, they go to sleep. On the last final judgment, when we all get judged and God throws Hades and death in the lake of fire, then everybody goes into hell or in the lake of fire. So
this is that Isaiah demon guy, the demon dude. That's what I always just call him, just because, whatever. That works. I don't care enough to remember these people's names. But it's the demon dude, and he's talking about soul sleep, right? And how it's such a dangerous belief for whatever reason, even though it's not that much different from their belief, but it's dangerous when it's just anything that's not your belief. So we're gonna listen to this dude, the demon dude, talk about this sort of thing. I am Brentley, and this is the Punk Apostate. Let's go. All right, so yeah, this is that, like I said, is that demon guy. Let me get the overlay out of here. And yeah, so it's the demon man, Mr. Demon, whatever you want to call him. And yeah, he's going off about this soul sleep thing. So let's hear it out.
everybody that dies right now goes to sleep. They don't go to hell or heaven, they go to sleep. So the chat knows there's a popular, in my opinion, and Bill, you can correct me because it's your interview, but there's a popular teaching that I'm actually shocked that very reputable YouTubers, pastors, preachers are starting to teach. And of course, it's not a new doctrine, but I believe it's a false doctrine where this is basically what they say. Okay.
It's weird when he says there's this new doctrine that they're starting to teach. It's not new though. Way to negate the thing you just, anyway. All right.
Everybody that dies right now goes to sleep. They don't go to hell or heaven, they go to sleep. On the last final judgment, when we all get judged and God throws Hades and death in the lake of fire, then everybody goes into hell or in the lake of fire.
He throws Hades and death into the lake of fire? Like Hades, like the Greek mythology, dude? Like, really? Okay.
So what they say, Bill, in a nutshell is nobody's burning right now, Bill. Nobody's in hell. Everybody that dies is soul sleeping, which I don't think they realize this is a Jehovah's Witness doctrine, but I won't go into that part. They say they're soul sleeping.
I remember that from that being a big divider line, and this was like the conversation. It's so funny, the stuff that we'll like divide over. But when I was a Christian and everything, this was the conversation that kept us at the fucking door with those people for hours. It was the soul sleep problem, Stupid.
So like there's people in the chat right now that's saying, Bill, there's no one in hell. Nobody goes to hell right now. That's way in the future. We're kind of in a soul sleep. Let me know your thoughts on that scripturally. What do you think about that? Are people immediately going to hell right now?
Is he allowed to talk at all, man? Are you capable of not talking for long enough to let somebody else answer a question?
They are immediately going to hell right now. There's people that quote Revelation 20:15, that at the great white throne judgment, they're cast into the lake of fire. Whoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. If they just back up 2 verses, verse 13 says death and hell, and it uses the word Hades, deliver up the dead that are in them.
Wow.
So they're clear there's dead people in the current hell. They're delivered up, and then it says they're judged, and then they're thrown into the lake of fire. So those people,
so God pulls them out of hell and was like, all right, now let's do some judging. Here's why you're stupid and bad and evil. All right, back in a different fire.
are alive in the current hell.
What
and
an
look
asshole.
at Luke 16, the rich man Jesus talked about, and that was not a parable for 2 reasons. Number one, a parable never has a name mentioned in it. This has 3 names: Abraham, Lazarus, and Moses.
That's a rule that was written? You're like, hold on, now, if it's got any names, then that can't be a parable. That's not how parable. Really, man?
So that's one reason it's not a parable. Number 2, in verse 25 and verse 29, Jesus said, and Abraham said to the rich man. So Jesus was quoting Abraham as saying to the rich man. If it was a parable, Jesus would have been lying because Abraham wouldn't have said that.
What?
Wow.
So it's parable. It's a real true story, and it's
Wait,
the word
what?
there, hell, is the word Hades, the current hell.
Oh, so because Jesus said the story that it has to be true because Jesus is not capable of lying. Is that really what we're am I following this correctly? My goodness.
So, and it talks about the rich man died and was carried by the angels into Abraham's bosom. And then it says the rich man died, and in hell he lifted up his eyes. So the very next verse it says, in hell he lifted up his eyes, being in torment in the flames. So it shows you immediately when he died, he went right to the current hell. And we've got many other scriptures about that.
Not the 2.0 version. We went to the current hell. Okay. Now it gets updated as it goes, but at this current moment, the hell that we got is the normal one.
But Isaiah 14:9 and 10 says, hell from beneath is moved to meet thee at thy coming. They will say, art thou become weak as we? Ezekiel 32:21 says,
I don't know. It sounds so stupid when they they're trying to sound compelling here. He's trying to make a biblical argument, but it just takes me right the fuck out of it once he starts being like, and then thine though, then and then he's like saying it all like it's supposed to be compelling, like, right? Thine though, like dude, just talk fucking normal, man. Come on.
the strong among the mighty that were upon the earth shall speak out of the midst of hell. And the word hell there is the word Sheol. That's the current hell. And, and
Sheol is the current one. Keep up, y'all. There's multiple hells. I thought there were 7 circles. If you had, I think I read a book about that at one point.
number 6
Or 9. I can't remember. 7, right?
1832, the sons of Korah, when they died, it says, and the earth opened its mouth, and they all went down alive into hell.
Wow.
So there's people going down into hell, that the current hell, that's the word again, Sheol. So that's very clear. And
Sheol.
Psalms 49:19 says, they shall never see light. Well, that presupposes their existence. They have to exist to see light, to not see light. Job 15:30 says, they shall not depart out of darkness.
What? No, but that doesn't, none of this, it's weird because, okay, the whole thing with soul sleep is this idea that it would feel like instantaneous to you. Like if you died or whatever, and then you wake up and you're in hell or whatever, it's like the hell that's after everything, right? But to you, it's like instant. That's supposed to be the whole way it works. It just skips a whole bunch of time. And then all of a sudden you wake up, you're actually in hell, but it's in the future. And this is after God comes back or whatever and makes the lake of fire and then throws all the people there. But to the people that die and go to hell, it's like instant, right? So the way that he's describing it doesn't really seem like that would be an impossibility given the arguments that he's making. I don't know, it just seems like he really just doesn't like that doctrine.
Again, they have to be alive to not depart out of darkness. So there's people and there's so many scriptures about being cast down alive into the pit. I was just going to give you a few more. Anyway.
So good. He reminds me of like Michael Scott, like when he has to listen to something he doesn't want to, and he's just like, yes, like just making noises just because he has to act like he's listening when he's not. That's totally what's happening here.
There's many more I could give you, but as Ezekiel 26:20 says, when I shall bring thee down with them that descend into the pit with the people of old time, and set thee in the low parts of the earth in places desolate of old, with them that go down into the pit. And the word pit there is the word.
Yeah, Warren Peter, that's how the Jehovah's Witness thinks the resurrection happens. Yeah, it's soul sleep is like as far as I can tell, it's like a Jehovah's Witness thing, but there's other Christian groups that believe it too. You know what I mean? And there's also, and I don't know if they're going to mention here, but annihilation theory, where there is no hell, it's just destruction. You're just destroyed or whatever. And I think the lake of fire is like a special thing, but those people just get destroyed in the lake of fire, according to annihilation theory. I think Billy Graham believed in annihilation theory.
Sheol. So again. Wow. There's many scriptures. I don't know how they can miss it, but yes, people are in the current hell that deny Jesus as their Lord and Savior. They go directly to the current hell. Okay. And then at judgment day, they're cast into the lake of fire.
Okay, that's the current one. And then other people go to a future one.
Okay, so there's a current hell. That's the hell you visited when you had your 23 minutes.
Oh, you got
your
me.
vision you
Fucking
had, your out
what?
of body vision. You experienced the current hell, and then as you're
Right.
saying at the end of the book of Revelation, we see
Okay.
death and Hades give up their dead, and then everybody gets thrown. Those that are not found in the Lamb's Book of Life into the lake of fire. That's going to be the eternal hell, or the lake of fire, I guess would be a better word for it. But you saw the current hell, which would be a temporary hell right now, where people are absolutely definitively burning as we speak.
Yes,
Definitively.
Okay. That's such a good explanation.
Yeah, and there's many scriptures I could give you for burning. Isaiah 33:12-14 says, the people shall be as the burnings of lime. They shall be as thorns cut up and thrown into the fire and burned. Who among us shall dwell with the devouring fire? Who among us shall dwell with everlasting burnings? And Jesus mentioned
What?
burnings in
Everlasting burnings, like plural.
John 15:6. He says, just as men gather branches that are withered, they are thrown into the fire and are burned.
Wow.
And Hebrews 6:8 says, their end, they shall be burned. So there's many
Yeah, but that doesn't. Those are arguments in favor of your thing, man. That's still, you still get burned in the other theory too. It's just like at a different time.
scriptures about burning in hell. Psalms 11.
And I'm glad you're saying that, because there's another false teaching I'm thinking of where people say it's not a literal fire, Bill. It's just a torment. When he talks about fire, which of course they're stretching scripture, they're playing theological gymnastics.
Dude, all you guys play theological gymnastics. Every bit of this is theological gymnastics. You're all just making shit up. The book like just is so contradictory. Like you have to make shit up and just decide that things are what it is. But I mean, isn't that just what faith is altogether? It's just deciding stuff. You know, people always say like it's pretending to know stuff you don't know. I'm just like, no, it's deciding that you do know. You know, it's not, I mean, because they wouldn't admit that they're pretending to know things they don't know, but they will say that, oh no, I did decide that this is the truth for me or whatever, because they're like, oh, but we believe this over here, you know. And the thing that kills me is like, I was just watching this video of a guy who was talking about how postmodernism, you know, oh man, postmodernism so bad. And he's like, and it's everybody has their own truth. No, it's not. It's a lot more complicated than that. That's not what postmodernism is necessarily. It's just there's not a single narrative of history, whatever. There's like, anyway, it's a whole thing. But and he was saying like, oh, because he was talking about how like with trans folks and everything, I'll be like, oh man, they just get to have their own truth. And then in the same breath turned around and was like, but we believe in my doctrine of my denomination, of my interpretation of my religion. We actually believe this over here. And it's like, wow, dude, how do you not get that that's completely what you were just railing against and being like, there's no, you know, everybody gets their own truth. That's stupid. That's stupid and crazy. And that's just what progressives believe. Now we believe in our doctrine. That's our thing. It's like going into like, but we think this. And it's like, then you're doing anyway. Geez Louise, it was so frustrating. I couldn't believe it.
But they say hell is not, Bill, a literal fire. God would never do that. This is a mental type of torment. This is a type of, you know, it's more of a Buddhist mindset they have of like, this is just mentally tormenting for a certain amount of time. Talk a little bit. I know you just quoted some verses. Is this literal fire? Are they actually burning literally?
Yes, it's actual little fire. And you know, when the rich man wanted a drop of water to cool his tongue, he said he was tormented in the flame.
Wow.
Now, if it was just flames of mental anguish, why would water suffice?
Wow,
a
good one.
Water.
That was
Revelation 9.
That's some critical thinking right there, man. Wow, how did you hear? Wow.
9:2, when it says the bottomless pit is opened up, it says there arose a great smoke
There's the smoke right there. Yeah.
out of that pit, and our air and sun were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. Well, it couldn't have been a metaphorical fire. It had to be a real fire to produce the real smoke that darkened our sky. And that came from a pit in hell and so forth. So, and then you've got Revelation 19:20 and Revelation 20:10, Revelation 21:8, all talk about that the lake is burning with fire and brimstone. And they're people are thrown into the lake that's burning with fire. It's not your mind burning, it's the lake that's burning with fire and brimstone.
What if this was all a big hallucination, man, and you get thrown, it's like you plugged into the matrix. How do you know it's not that? And you believe that it's real fire, but it's not real fire. It's just all in your head, man. It's a mental plug-in, you know, like the fucking matrix, dude.
And people are thrown into that lake.
Wow.
And the current hell, they're not in the lake, but they're in fire still. And
Ember said caliente.
like all those scriptures I already mentioned about the fires of hell, Psalms 11:6, upon the wicked, he will rain fire and brimstone in a horrible tempest.
Wow.
Psalm 1:10, let's burn.
1%. I love smoking the pits of hell. Highest you'll ever get. Yeah, I don't know if I've ever had that kind. Had some purple, some perp. You know, that stuff is pretty. You know, that was up there. That was almost like the fires of hell, I bet, but not quite. You know,
And coals fall upon them. Let them be cast into the fire, into deep pits. I mean, there's 49 scriptures also that talk about the
like imagine like learning this stuff this thoroughly to be able to just like quote it like this, like complete and utter fucking nonsense. Like what a waste of your brain. My goodness. And you're just like, and once you know what you know, it's not even like it is knowing anything because it's just what you think your theology is. And clearly they're having to sit here going, but that's just my, other people got it wrong, but I got it right. Like it just completely, it's like even the stuff that you do know is just completely useless.
fires of hell. I mean, I don't know how people could twist that many and say it's metaphorical fire.
Yeah,
No,
wouldn't it be
clear.
like the devil, Bill, to make this false doctrine to make hell not so bad? Wouldn't it be the
Right.
devil who would say, hell's not that bad. It's not literal fire. It's
Yeah, because that's why that's why there's not Christians. That's why there are people that exist that aren't Christians because they're like, you know what? The hell version that they got ain't that bad. So, I'm actually okay going to, this little wimpy hell. I'm fine going to that. I can do it. I can handle that. I'm a tough guy. I'm tough. I can handle it. All right. No, man, we don't think there is any hell. It's so fucking stupid. Why would he think that would help anybody at all? Like, it doesn't. Satan's like, I'll trick him into thinking that hell ain't that bad. Yeah, that'll get him.
It's not a big deal. If you go there,
kidding me?
it's a party. I always tell people, if you think hell's a party, what you don't realize is you're on the grill. There's no party in hell. This is such
Jesus.
a Hollywood.
Why are you so violent, man? Damn. Like, yeah, well, if you think hell's a party, you're going to be fucking cooked and eaten by cannibals. Yeah. Yeah.
Lie and deception
Fucking relax.
that Hollywood political parties have said, hell's no big deal. There's going to be music, dancing,
There's hell right there. See all the people dancing. That's right. And that almost would be hell for me because I fucking hate those things, man. When I go to a show, I am far away from the crowd, man. Like I am way back,
Everybody say, it's a great party. We're going to have a lot of fun. Bill, couldn't that not be farther from the truth?
So many people try to downplay hell because they cannot reconcile loving God.
Such hard-hitting questions here. My goodness. Like, aren't you just totally right about this? Like, you are just so much more right than we even thought, right? Yeah, I actually am. You're right, Isaiah. Thank you. I am actually more right than we had thought until.
With a God that will allow people to be tormented like that.
Wow.
But that's what Jesus said. He even said in Mark 9:43, if your eye offends thee, dig it out. It's better for you to enter into life.
Again, so fucking violent. What is wrong with these people? Why are they so damn violent? Jesus. All right, let me back up really. Let's see. Winfrey said Christians don't actually understand hell because they're not invited to the barbecue. That's what it is. That's what it is. But they think that we'd be on the barbecue. I don't know. Like being cooked on the barbecue, not like on. Anyway, I don't know. As I said, why is it God seems the evil one when you read the Bible? The Bible. I like that. The Bible. And Satan is the good guy. I know, right? There's almost no way that you can read the Bible and think that that was like one of the main things that I think really, even as a youngster, a young little kiddo, I was just like, this doesn't feel right because it feels weird to have to act like somebody is good when he's behaving the way he is. Which, if we behaved that way, we'd be bad. That would be sin, But if God does it, it's not a sin for whatever reason. Like, how the fuck does that work? It's gross. Like, it just didn't. And I don't know, that did really bother me. Let's see. Ember said, the good Lord says he can get me out of this, but he's pretty sure you're fucked. Irish dude. He's like, I can get me out, but not you. Lisa said, well, what they know is not worth knowing. Exactly. Yeah. What a fucking crock of shit. Like, this is more, I would rather talk to somebody that's like, one of those people that like can make a throne, like they can make a throne out of their comic books. You know what I'm talking about? The kind where they have like the long, can like literally can sit on a throne of comic books. I would rather talk to that person because at least they might give me a little bit of insight into like what the narratives might be in the future of Loki or some shit. You know what I mean? Like what the secret wars are or whatever, but this shit's completely useless. Holy fuck.
Than into hellfire. So that's pretty graphic. He's saying do something as graphic as digging out your own eye if it's causing you to sin so you can avoid hell. And he talked about hell in 46 different verses.
It's almost as if they need that to be a scare tactic to get you to stay believing the stupid shit they want you to believe. I know, it's crazy. The Bible talks about how terrible hell is. That's sort of their whole fucking job, right? Isn't the whole point of the Bible is to get you to believe that this one narrative is like true, this one belief system? Well, in order to do that, they need to scare you of the pretend place they're trying to convince you exists.
Because he's a loving God, he doesn't want us to go there. But that's how severe hell is.
Because he's a loving God, he doesn't want you to go to the place that he created just to torture you for all eternity if you don't like have a relationship with him and do everything out of the way he says and be a slave to him.
And people try to downplay it by soul sleep or universalism that says everybody escapes hell and goes to heaven, or annihilationism. That's a teaching that says you simply cease to exist. Again, it's a downplaying. And then also
annihilationism. Is that what I said? I thought it was called an annihilation theory or something. But annihilationism actually sounds pretty cool. That's actually that's a metal. I would say it's a punk band, but it's a metal band. Sorry. Yeah. We don't get a punk band point for that one. Nope. We got to wait for actual punk band names, not metal names. They don't count. Wormfree said, God's not evil, but he does ask for sacrifices just because he likes the smell of cooked meat and wants you to murder Canaanite babies. Jesus. It's graphic. That's pretty graphic. Jesus.
To say that the fire is not real fire. It couldn't be more clear from the scriptures that it's literal fire. Like Jesus said in John 15:6, if a man abides not in me, just as men gather branches that are withered,
I know
they are thrown into the fire.
That's so funny you brought that up, Ember. Yeah, because I was actually watching one hit. So Ember said, didn't Isaiah just do a video with a guy who said he spent 23 minutes in hell, and he was saying that was a false teaching. Like, don't believe the teachings of people that say they went to hell and came back. And then now he's got this guy on, which is so interesting because I honestly didn't know this guy had said that he had spent time in hell or whatever. I just thought it was an interview about soul sleep or whatever, because I don't like to watch these things until we're all hanging out, because I get bored easy. Man, I have ADHD. It's boring.
Fire and burn. I mean, is that clear enough for you?
Wow.
None of it's clear, man. It's a fucking none of the shit in that book is clear, man. I hate it when it's clear as day in the Bible. No, the fuck it's not, man. Nothing is clear in the goddamn Bible. Not even the gospel narrative itself. The most important fucking story known to man, according to these fucking people. And it doesn't even line up. It's like 4 different fucking stories, 3 of which don't even have the end of the story, that Jesus coming back to life or whatever. All they got is people showing up to an empty tomb and going out there's an empty tomb. And that's it. That's all you got.
You throw it in the fire, it's burned. So will you that don't know the gospel and don't receive Jesus as your Lord and Savior.
Let's see. Nim said, wouldn't it be hilarious if it turned out that hell was actually a party with the devil? God is just pissed he's not invited. So that's why Christians think it's terrible. That's like the actual truth. Like that would be very, like, Christianity is true, but like hell is just awesome and heaven sucks. Heaven's like where all the boring people go that just like want to sing hymns all fucking day.
You'll be burned in fire.
So important.
To be burned.
I would like to also ask you, Bill, I know you've answered so many questions already that I had planned to ask you, but another one I want to say is,
has he? I think I'm on like 4.
I'm interested on the fact that you said you had this, you don't know how, but you had a supernatural knowledge that you were in the center of the earth. You did touch on that quickly.
What?
Is hell an actual location in the center of the earth? Or when we're talking tonight, are we talking about a spiritual dimension? Because to me, the idea that there's a literal place with prisons and bars and fire under my feet right now, like I'm sitting in an air-conditioned studio, you're in your air-conditioned office, We're very comfortable. We're sharing. It's so hard to wrap my head around. There's a literal place. It feels
That's
so
what
much
it was.
worse
Okay.
that there's a real place in the
Oh man, I haven't seen that movie in forever. Okay, that's what he was talking about. That's awesome. Okay.
center of the earth
Nice.
below me where people are burning. Now, I don't know the details.
Did he just say blow me? But if you want somebody to blow you, go to adamandeve.com, enter code word Brentley at checkout. That's BRENTLY at checkout to get 50% off almost any one item, 3 free gifts, 6 free movies, and free shipping on the whole order. The packaging is discreet. It's 50 years of satisfaction guaranteed, and it's America's most trusted source for sex toys. I was going to say for news. I'm used to hearing that. Yeah, so go to adamandeve.com, enter code word Brentley. That's BRENTLY at checkout to get your exclusive offer. All right, back to the fun.
Details. I want to say scientists say they've gone, what is it, 7 miles, Bill? 8 miles, maybe you know. That's the deepest they've ever gone. And they say the core is about 2,000 miles, if I'm not mistaken, 2,000 to 4,000 miles, they believe, but they've only gone 6.
What? Warm Food said, what is OML? I hate abbreviation. Okay. That means Brendan Fraser fought dinosaurs in hell. Is that from that fucking, the one where the devil lady grants some wishes or something? I don't fucking know.
6 or 7 miles. Can you talk a little bit about that? Are we talking literal place, or are we talking just a spiritual dimension that we appear into?
No, it's a literal place. You know, even in Luke 16, it reveals a lot. It says they were separated by a great gulf fixed. Well, a gulf, that word gulf is a gorge in the earth. Look it up. It means a gorge in the earth. So they were separated.
Oh man, wow! You looked up the word. That means divider. Like it just meant, like, all he was trying to say was like it was divided. Like they were on one side, they were over there, and so he's trying to be like, that's a gorge right there. Wow, yeah. Can you believe that?
This gorge, one side was the paradise side, one side was the torment side. Before Jesus arose from the dead, he took all those people out of the Abraham's bosom and brought them up to heaven after that. But it was a gorge in the earth.
So the hell was an actual hell that stayed hell, but the heaven was not the heaven that stays heaven. That's a different heaven. I was gonna say, because like you can't. How can you have it to where you can see the people in hell and still be in heaven? Like I'd have a hard time enjoying myself in heaven if I'm like looking over and there's like, the Cenobites like tearing somebody's face off with hooks or some shit,
Also, remember in number 1632, it says that the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them up alive, and they all went down alive into hell.
What are you doing with the pronouns, huh? Oh, earth is a she, huh? Yeah? Is that how that goes? I thought you guys didn't do pronouns, huh?
Wow.
And it uses the word Sheol. So that's pretty graphic and clear that the earth itself opened, they all went down. And again, there's 49 scriptures that talk about where the current hell is located. Amos 9:2, though you dig in
So this dude actually does think that the center of that there's a literal hell that's an actual place that is at the center of the earth right now. Holy shit. Like, how could it possibly, if it's an actual physical place, how could it possibly hold everybody? And why would it be a physical place? Like, all the bodies are in caskets in the ground, among other places. But how does that work? What, then their souls go down to the center of the earth? Come on.
Hell. Isaiah 14:9, hell from beneath. There's all these scriptures about being beneath your feet. Number 16:32 and 33, when I shall bring thee down with them that descend into the pit with the people of old time and set thee in the low parts of the earth. Ezekiel 31.
Jesus fucking Christ. Isaiah is over 800K subs now. Jesus, really? Fuck me. Why do I not lie for Jesus again? I know, right? I know. It'd be so easy, man. Like, I swear, like, if you can just say some really gross and heinous shit, and YouTube's like, oh, good, he's saying gross and heinous shit. Put him out there. Put him out there. We get those rage clicks. That's what we want. We can sell ads because of those rage clicks,
1:16 says the same thing. They should go down into the pit, into the lower parts of the earth, and so forth. So it's very clear that that's where it is, down deep in the earth. And I understood that I was down deep in the earth.
You
And like I said, I
Wow.
just
You understood that? He's like, I understood. I was down in the middle of the earth. I could tell exactly where I was because of my GPS locator. I was like, yep, I am 10,000 feet below sea level. That's where I am right now, according to my GPS.
get there. I ascended when I left. And remember when in 1
I
Samuel
ascended when
28,
I left.
when King Saul called on the witch of Endor and
Yes.
wanted to bring up Samuel, it said, and Samuel ascended up out of the earth. Well, he
Mm.
was in Abraham's bosom side, which is separated by a gulf fixed. So on the other side was the torment side.
Oh my God. So Abraham's bosom is down just across the street from the fucking hell place in the center of the earth. Oh man, that sucks for those people. They just had to sit there for like what 2,000 years now, just staring at these people being tortured. Whew, man, this is. I feel like this is taking a long time. Can Jesus like hurry? I've been looking at this for a long. I mean, this is going on thousands of years now. Can we? I'd just like to not look at people having their flesh eaten off by little tiny monsters.
And it says he ascended up out of the earth in 1 Samuel 28,
Wow.
14. So that's very clear. He ascended up out of the earth and he was coming up from the same place.
And this is
So-
when Jesus in the New Testament goes down, gets them out of Abraham's bosom. And the Bible says for several days,
You know what I'm saying? Does he think the earth is like Pac-Man, just hinges open and num num num, you're in hell? That's awesome.
these saints that had passed were walking around the city. I don't know if you guys missed that in the Bible. It talks about how Jesus got them, brought them up, and then they're walking around the city for several days while Jesus is talking to his disciples. So that's kind of what you're talking about, because a lot of people in the chat now are saying,
Yeah, that's fucking crazy and stupid, man. Like, and I think most Christians ignore it because they're trying so hard to act like this is something that at least could have happened, you know. It's like, okay, dude came back from life. Okay, I came back from the dead, right? You know, because he's God. He's the God one. Oh yeah, and like people came back to life and were basically zombies just walking around for a few days. And oh yeah, and in the one book, Jesus gets to be 500 feet tall and the angels are 250 feet, and then the cross comes out and gives a certain shit. We got to get rid of that one. Nobody's gonna believe this shit. Can we get rid of that one? Let's throw that one back.
wait a minute, Abraham's bosom, what is that? Is that Old Testament? Is that new? Can you just quickly for a minute or two explain the Abraham bosom versus the Old Testament hell and all that?
Right. When people died in the Old Testament before Jesus came, they didn't go directly to heaven because our sins were only covered. They weren't washed away, and that you could not enter heaven unless our sins are washed away and dealt with. So they went to a place.
You didn't deal with the actual underlying problem. See, it's like a Band-Aid, you know? It's like taking a Xanax instead of just trying to figure out what's causing the anxiety to begin with. You know what I mean? And so the problem was there wasn't any Jesus blood, right? So you got to have Jesus blood. You put the Jesus blood on all the sins, and then
down deep in the earth called Abraham's bosom or paradise. And it was a place separated by that gulf fixed.
How is it paradise if you're looking at people being tortured, man? That's not paradise, dude. Like, I don't care how fucking nice it is over there. If you're seeing people being tortured, that sucks. You know, I don't want to watch that.
So in Luke 16, it reveals a lot that the rich man wanted to send Lazarus to warn his brothers so they wouldn't come there. He said, I know they have to repent.
Lisa said, I could not smoke up enough to make this make sense. No, you got to take the serious stuff. You got to take some mescaline or some shit like that.
So he knew that. That was interesting. He knew that. He had his full memory. He thought about his brothers. But he said, Abraham said, those we cannot cross over to you, and you cannot cross over to us.
How many times are you gonna say? How many fucking times are you gonna say that, man? We already got it. Yeah, we can't cross the gorge that you were talking about.
That shows you cannot get out of hell. So universalism, just that one verse refutes that.
You don't understand.
He said you can't.
Wow, what a fucking idiot. He doesn't understand what universalism is. Universalism is just simply trying to say that we can all be together no matter if we have different beliefs or not. We can all hang out together. We can believe in different stuff and then congregate together. And yeah, each individual person believes in their individual thing, whatever it is. Right. But that's the whole point, is that everybody can believe their own thing. And we can all still like come together and be humanists together, you know, and love one another, regardless if we believe that, you know, there's hell and stuff. And I think maybe they say like, oh, I don't believe in hell because of that or whatever. Like, But I've heard a lot of people say that aren't universalists. They just are like, I don't believe my God would send people to hell, which that makes more sense than what the Christians are cool with.
Can't get, you can't cross over. So
Or
that
the
made it
fungies.
very clear there. But that revealed a lot, that he had his full memory. He didn't want his brothers to come there. He was tormented in the flame. He wanted a drop of water. And he knew he didn't even ask to get out of hell. He
This
knew he
sounds
was
like-
guilty because he never repented.
This sounds like he's like studied hell like so much, and like he's obsessive kind of about it, right? And then it didn't take, people are like, okay, whatever. Like nobody bought his book, nobody went to see his seminar, his hell seminar, And he's like, I know, I gotta almost die, and then tell everybody that I went to hell. That's what I'll do. Then they'll fucking listen to me. God damn it.
Mm.
But anyway, so
That's very good.
That's very good. Is it me, or does this thing not look anything like him? Why does he use this as his symbol? That does not look like him at all. What the fuck? Anyway, that looks like an anime character with a microphone that seems too big or something. Either he's really small or the microphone's too big. I don't know which one. But so that was fun, I think I got a little bit of time. We're gonna watch another short one. God, they hate Brie Larson. That's that quartering guy's coming up like a whole bunch now. So I did that one video, and all I did was watch his video all the way through one fucking time. And okay, this one seems like it's a really small one. No, let me see what we got here. Strange people are coming. What? Hold on, let me watch this. Sorry. I have
People in
no
the
idea.
last days.
No idea what this is.
What will they look like? How will they behave? What will they stand for and believe in? To answer these questions, we need to look at the Bible.
Of course we
Now, whenever there is evil, and when God is about to send judgment on a place, he always makes provisions to ensure his children are safe and far away from his wrath. For example,
How
in
does that work?
Genesis, when the world was filled with great evil, God separated Noah and his family from the rest of society. And then his judgment came to the earth.
Was that? That looks like. Hold on. That looked like fucking. Damn. What's his name from 48 Hours?
In Genesis, when the world was filled with
Damn.
great evil, God
Look at that. That's the guy from 48 Hours, and he was in the Hulk. He was the Hulk's dad or whatever. Fucking. What is his name? He's with Eddie Murphy in 48. All right. You know what? This is gonna bother
separated
fucking-
Noah and his family from the rest of society. And then his judgment came to the earth in the form of a worldwide flood. Look at Sodom and Gomorrah, a place filled with great wickedness.
That's a good point. Because he's saying like it's paradise, but I'm saying like it can't be paradise if you're looking at people being tortured to death on the other side. But if you're a sadist, then it's just still paradise.
God separated Lot and his family from the rest of the people in Sodom and Gomorrah before his judgment came in the form of fire
And that was Sean Connery. What is going on? Where are they getting these faces from?
and brimstone raining from the heaven. When the children of Israel were at the Red Sea, God separated the water for them to cross. And as soon as they were clear and safe, the second they were safe, the waters were no longer parted, and Pharaoh and his army drowned. On many
Yes, we know all the stories about the good guys getting away when God kills everybody or hurts everybody, all right? Like, you don't have to rehash this dumbass shit.
occasions, God has separated his people from those who are wicked. And so today, I want to show you 6 types of people that you will begin to see, and perhaps, I should say, 6 types of people that you are seeing in these last days.
Oh, wow.
I'm highlighting
That was clever. Just, you heard what he did there? Yeah, neither did I. I have no idea what that was.
these people because there will come a time when Bible prophecy is fulfilled, and God will separate his children from those who practice wickedness. Now, these 6 categories
He separated it from that, he saved his people that time that he killed all the people. Ember said he keeps his people safe like that time he killed all his people. So good.
are the deceivers, the idol worshippers, the cold-hearted and unloving, the proud, those who are immoral, and those with a form of godliness.
I feel like he's just talking about Trump supporters. Is that you talking about Trump supporters? That's it? And maybe Trump himself too, a couple of those. I don't know.
Let's talk about the deceivers. In the last days, you will see more and more people.
See, Trump supporters. Or just actually those would be Trump fault. Like that would be Trump himself. He's the deceiver that deceives.
Especially those in positions of fame and authority in and out the church. You will see more and more of these people preaching and teaching lies with a hint of truth. Isaiah 5 verse 20
How do you
says,
know?
"Woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who put darkness for light and light for darkness, who put
God, they talk about this verse so often. It's just so frustrating. And it's always in the context of, well, typically, except for this time, I guess, except I don't know, he'll probably give us context in a second here. They're always like, see, they think that we are bad, that we are evil just for hating people and just want our religion to rule the entire world. And they're acting like we're the bad guys. I'm like, yeah, man.
bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter." There will come a time, and we are seeing this in some circles today, where some will see evil, they will perform and do what is evil, but they will call it good. In this day and
Like
age,
what?
we really have to be careful when it comes to what we consume. And by this, I mean the true gospel of Jesus Christ calls us to repentance. But some of the cheap, sugar-coated gospel out there, it tells you that you're forgiven, but does not call you to repent. It calls you loved, and it talks about God's mercy, but it does
Like they're not like being shitty enough, man. Like all these weak, wimpy churches that say like love people and stuff. Yeah, garbage. You need to tell people they're going to hell and be wrathful or whatever the fuck. Man.
does not correct you. It doesn't tell you to carry your cross and crucify your flesh. And this is why we must be so careful. The idol worshippers. In ancient times, people used to make idols out of wood, stone, precious metals, and they carved statues. Today, we might not
Well, Warmfree said, I want to convince an AI is actually Jesus. The YouTube videos would do numbers. It's actually, oh, didn't see what the YouTube numbers do. Jesus. Oh, dang, he even calls out Isaiah by name. Damn, that was fucked up. Well, that's that's what you get when you have your name, when you're named after a book of the Bible.
have idols of bronze or silver, but the idols we do have tend to be invisible. We can build idols all too easily out of things we value highly: our careers, our significant others, our political beliefs.
Just all the thing, like just all the things that you might like love or need or like not be against, like not hate that you have a phone or not hate that you have a partner or not hate that you whatever. And so that means you're worshiping it. God, they have to they have to make something out of nothing constantly. It's just what they have to do. Like, well, yeah, but you are worshiping your loved ones. It sounds bad the way I'm saying it. But they're an idol for you. You need to just not worship them and just act like they don't exist and whatever.
Our secret sins. All of these things can become idols when they compete with God for priority in our lives. Many people
So basically, yeah, they just redefined what idol means. And like it can be an idol as long as it distracts you from Jesus. It's like, okay, so literally anything can be an idol. Like a book that's not like horribly boring could be an idol.
will neglect God in the last days because of idolatry. Silent idols, invisible idols, idols that only live in the deepest parts of the heart.
So Ember said, fun fact, statues of Jesus count as both idols and blasphemy. Really? At the same time? Really? I didn't know that. Is that considered is that like one of the graven images thing from one of the versions of the 10 Commandments or whatever? Because I know the Catholic Church kind of rehabbed that,
And so you need to be on guard because God is a jealous God according to his word. The third type of person
Another thing that makes him seem like a completely like just a very not God-like. And be like, and he's jealous, by the way, too. You know, he doesn't like it if you talk to other people more than him. It's like, that sounds fucking weird, man. And petty. Is he a god or not? What is he doing?
You will begin to see is those who are cold-hearted and unloving. The Bible in 2 Timothy 3, verse 2 and 3 says, for men will...
Hold on, let me see. Ampersand says, seems like Jehovah's Witness propaganda. If you're worshiping your job by spending time on it, or your family by spending time with them, you're not spending time with Jehovah. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's just like like even just things that you need to care about, you know, like because your well-being depends on it, and the well-being of the people you love depend on it. And they're like, that's an idol. It's like, I never understood that.
Will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money.
Yeah, remember, folks, you got to hate yourself. Okay, you better fucking hate yourself. Okay, remember how bad you suck all the time, and that's why you see. Now everybody wonders why nobody wants to be Christians.
Boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, unloving.
Kelly said, "Is breathing an ideal? I love air."
Unforgiving, slanderers, without self-control, brutal, despisers of good. Take a close...
Calm down, man. Jeez, take a Valium. Relax, man. Fuck. Angier, hey, Angier. Angier said, Rachel Kane, I blame Bill on TikTok, spent her life thinking that she killed her mom because she loved her mom too much. She thought she made an idol out of her mom, and God took her mom away from her. Wow. Fuck, that's really fucked up. Why? What purpose would it serve to convince somebody of something like that? Like who's at the church? Because this didn't just pop out of her fucking head. Somebody told her that, you know, somebody came to her and was like, hey, you know, seems like you're liking your mom just a bit too much. Okay, you're gonna have to pull back. Okay, this is idol worship at this point, you know. It's like you're acting like she's more important than Jesus. All right. And then her mom passes away, and they're like, yeah, that was my fault for loving my mom more than Jesus. My fuck. When that people ask like how religion is harmful, that's the answer we need to give right there.
Closer look at this verse. People will love themselves. People will look out only for themselves. Why? Because
Who does that sound like? Does that sound like a libertarian Trump supporter to you? Christian too, by the way? Yeah. Sounds like them. That sounds like that. Sounds like I got mine. Everybody else can fuck off. I'm a libertarian Christian capitalist. Dude.
Lovers of money. And then there is a standalone
Again, capitalist. Yes, see, that's a
word that describes what people will be like. And this word is unloving. People will be without love. They will be cold.
Again, Trump supporters. Like I'm just saying, they fit the bill all the way around.
At heart. Part A of 1 John 4, verse 20 tells us, if someone says,
oh, Andrea said her mom died when she was a child. Oh, I see. So this was all kind of like after the fact, sort of rationalizing it and stuff, huh? That's really sad, though. That's exactly the type of stuff that fucks up people's heads. This is exactly why, you know, we need like the religious trauma is actually a thing that we need to recognize as far as psychology scholarship, because it's fucking harmful. My God. We wonder, like, you know, you think like, oh man, it's so crazy that when you put your brain through a fucking emotional blender, you know, that yeah, it kind of ends up being harmful in one way or another. Of fucking course it does. I can't believe religious trauma isn't just like a staple in psychology. Like, I don't know if maybe I'm mistaken. I thought that I had heard that they're not really recognizing it as a problem, as a type of trauma. It's like other traumas, and they're like from religion, like it's an extension away from it. But no, it should be its own kind of trauma specifically.
I love God and hates his brother. He is a...
So Andrew said, she just applied the lesson about idolatry to her mom. I see. She just used her childlike logic to try to get answers from for something that's hard to understand. I see. So yeah, so when she was a kid, she heard him talking about idols, And she was like, "Oh, that must have been because I loved my mom." Yeah, it's like an after the fact kind of thing. That's so sad. Jesus Christ.
Liar. A cold heart that is devoid of love for others displeases God. Christ
Okay.
commands us
Jesus.
to love one another as we love ourselves. But in the last days, there will be people who
Wait.
move away from being loving.
And that you got to keep in mind though, that is the golden rule. It's called the golden rule because it's mentioned in every single holy book or if every single scripture or whatever. Like there was older versions of the love your neighbor as yourself thing, and that's actually not even a good version of it. I'd say the actually good version is the treat people the way they would want to be treated. That I feel like that's way better because you're not them. You don't know how they would want to be treated, and some people might want to be treated differently than you want to be treated. You might want tough love or think you need tough love and give that to somebody else when that's actually what would hurt them quite a bit, you know?
People will harbor bitterness and resentment towards someone instead of forgiving and loving. People will choose revenge instead of love.
Wow.
They will choose vengeance.
Ember said, my first serious relationship ended because my partner didn't like that I loved her more than Jesus. Fucking jeez. What? Really? I still don't understand humans. Yeah, no shit. I mean, the religion thing kind of complicates the matter, don't you think? You know what I mean? Like that makes humans like that much harder to understand when you got everybody running around lying to everybody else and themselves on purpose so that they can, I don't know, like feel like they're going to live forever or whatever the fuck. Jesus. Warm Food said it's like the news, or it's like that news article where Christians in polls have been saying Jesus is too soft and socialists, like they're almost aware that they're stepping on their own coattails. Yeah, dude. That was wild. I can't remember whose article it was. I want to say it was like a Christianity Today. I cover a lot of Christian articles on my other show, and there's like one, it's like I think it might be Christianity Today. That is more progressive. I don't know. It's not as conservative as all the other ones that I follow, and I'm constantly getting like drawn into their articles and be like, I agree with this too much. I'm not gonna cover this shit, you know. But I think that was Christianity Today, and yeah, he was talking about that. How this is what he's talking about. What Worm Fruit's talking about is there was people were giving sermons about stuff that Jesus literally said. And all these Trump supporters and right-wing conservatives were like, where are you getting these socialist talking points from? And it was like that Jesus, like his actual words, man, like
Instead of love and forgiveness, people will choose to betray each other instead of loving one another.
yeah.
These are the kinds of people in the last days.
Ember said, but also hate everyone, even yourself. Yeah, that was honestly the hating yourself thing that I did. I think that was what really messed me up, like more than just about everything. Because like I did not allow myself to think anything positive about myself when I was a Christian. Like I even had a song that they still play to this day at the church that I wrote called You Are My Pride. And it was all about how I'm like garbage and terrible and everything. And the only pride that I can have at all is, because I'm in a relationship with Jesus or whatever. It's just very, very harmful stuff. And it's crazy how harmful mentally that type of shit is.
And the next group of people will be the proud. Now, because of wealth, vanity, perceived importance, career...
Look at this guy, man. That guy's cool. Okay. I mean, that's exactly what you want to, that's what we're all aspiring to right here. Fitted suit, career achievements in white in front of your body, the floating letters that just follow you around. But Nim said, so you have to lump one another, but not too much. Or that's idolism. Idolatry, but you're close. That's maybe it's idolism too. I don't know. That sounds like a philosophy of some sort. Where is the line? Just don't give them your last piece of pizza too far. That's awesome.
Career achievements, many people will become proud in the last days. And the first reason
nobody's ever been proud before, man. Yeah. We've all been fucking humble up until this time.
Why pride is so destructive is that it robs God of his glory. You begin to look at yourself and what you can do instead of the Lord.
What was with the stock footage? Like, can you give me a guy just looking? Just looking. We're gonna get the spinny camera around a guy just looking at nothing.
The second destructive result of pride is that it hurts those around us.
God, I bet this did hurt too. Like, he just got to stand there like that long while all these people walking by, and he's got to try to stay as still as possible. They could not pay me enough to do this stock footage.
Pride comes down to comparison. We look at our neighbors and think we're better than them because of our status in life. We look at our spouse.
He started with the S, and I swear I thought he was going to say because of our skin color.
And believe we're better than them because we control the kids better. We look at people in the church and think we're better than them because we're more moral.
They have like little tables to hook up at the. Really? That's some Pew technology that I had never seen before. Just, I always, just got the stock standard, no bells, whistles, pews. But these are like, that must be like the sport edition or the luxury.
When you think
pews.
and live this way, you find your worth and value in your good works instead of Jesus. And that's exactly where the devil wants you.
Wants you getting value from being an actually good person, from doing things that are actually good. That's where the devil wants you. See, this is why, Jesus, this is why, this just leads to everybody to being assholes. That's it.
He wants you looking at anyone but Jesus. The next group of people are those who are immoral. This Bible tells us that in the last days, people will be
weren't all the people you just described up until this point also immoral?
Lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God. And we are seeing this already. It is my belief that the devil
Hold
has
on.
been
What is the whole point of Sodom and Gomorrah if none of this stuff happened until just now? Like, isn't there a whole thing about Sodom and Gomorrah and the way the world was before the flood that, like, oh, it got so debaucherous, I don't know, that, yeah, God had to, like, destroy the place or whatever. But now he's like, and people will want to have fun too much. And that only happens in the end. It's like, but it says in your book that this did happen twice. In two different places.
Quietly at work. He's been subtle and cunning. And what he's done, he has used entertainment, he's used music, he's used media, and everything available to dismantle godly values relating to sex. The standard of God's word is that marriage is honorable among all, and the bed undefiled.
Jesus, okay. Warren said, say the people who have enough pride to claim they speak for a cosmic deity. Yeah. That's not pride, though. That's just, Jesus, yeah.
But the devil has perverted this and promoted fornication in music, in movies.
No, I thought he was supposed to be fucking the bass. Hold on, look. Watch this. Watch this transition.
Honorable among all, and the bed undefiled. But the devil has perverted this and promoted fornication in music, in movies, and in
promoted fornication in music and in movies.
Society. Marriage is honorable among all, and the bed undefiled. But the devil has promoted adultery and affairs. Satan has built an
He promotes adultery? Is that something people promote? I don't think there's people out there just promoting it. You can promote not like waiting to get married and having some fun before you get married. But nobody's promoting cheating on people, I don't think.
Acceptance among people that sex outside of marriage
was no... is. Logan, where you been, man? Come on. Get on the ball. We've already gone for almost an hour now.
Longer a sin. My friends, we are living in an age where sexual sin has been normalized by the...
And if you want some normalized sexual sin, just go to adamandeve.com, enter code word Brentley, and check out to get 50% off almost any one item, 3 free gifts, 6 free movies, and free shipping on the entire order. Just go to adamandeve.com, enter code word Brentley, that's Brently, and check out to get your exclusive offer. All right. I'm going to go for a little bit longer because Logan just showed up. So it's going to be a longer one.
This is a strategy by the enemy that is designed to trap you in sin. And so you must make sure you're never found to be in this group of people.
Oh,
The final category,
you just got to hide. They didn't say you couldn't be there. You said you could never be found. But these just find a closet real quick. Just head to that. Just jump in there.
is all to do with people
Hide under
who
the
have a
bed.
form of godliness. Now,
Well, that's you, man. That's you.
what is a form of godliness? Well, it's all to do with sounding like a Christian, looking and dressing like a Christian, but deep down in your
Thank you. Oh no, society is crumbling because normal things are seen as normal.
heart, your private
Oh.
moments, you are not really striving to be Christ-like. You see,
Not
there's so
really.
much deception today. Entertainment is deceiving, appearing to be good when there is an evil agenda. Music.
He's just like so brainwashed. It's pathetic. He's like, there's an evil agenda, and I'm not going to say who, but they control Hollywood. Okay, it's the. I'm just kidding.
It is deceiving. It's sounding good, but there's an evil
That's a Kanye joke there.
agenda behind it. Some churches are deceiving. They have a form of godliness, but there's a subtle evil. Some pastors are deceiving as they have a form of godliness, but their lives are completely different to what they preach.
What is this? What did he put in like bullshit preacher? And this is like the stock footage that brought him up. Like just waving his.
Equally, there are people in the church who appear to be
Jesus
good and
Christ.
strong Christians at face value, but God knows their hearts, and their hearts are far away from Him.
The martial artist trains and practices
Who the
so
fuck
that
is
when
this
it is
guy?
necessary, they will be able to defend themselves and others. The military trains and trains and trains in times of peace
What happened?
so that when they are called upon, they are ready to go at a moment's notice.
Yeah, I think that's what this was for. Was the well, not just Kenneth Copeland. It was the whatever you call it, the gospel, the prosperity gospel people. You know.
The firefighter or paramedic trains and prepares so that when the crisis comes, they are prepared
Look at
to
him whipping
respond.
that. Look at him whipping that.
As
thing.
children of God,
Wow.
we should be the same way. We should not be waiting for a battle in order to get ready, but rather, the Bible calls us to be ready always. So, what are some ways we can stay in a state of readiness? How can we avoid that nagging statement of guilt, shame, and regret? How can we avoid saying something like, if I had more time? First, we must make sure our relationship with the Lord is good. That means we're not living in
Make sure your relationship with the Lord is good. Is it good? Like, I don't know. Is this good? This kind of sucks, actually. It's sort of boring, you know? Not a whole lot to do. In fact, I'm not really even allowed to watch anything. Not allowed to have any friends that aren't weird, you know, and judgy. This isn't good, actually. This isn't good.
sin. We're not living in rebellion or disobedience, but rather we are living under the influence and leadership of the Holy Spirit. This is why it's so important to pray without ceasing. It's important to meditate on God's word.
Oh man, I was hoping she would keep her eyes closed and then she like knocks into something, you know, and the camera keeps going, you know.
And keep it hidden in your heart. All of these things are to the benefit of your relationship with the Lord.
Mm.
Another thing that we
Mm.
must do to stay in a state of readiness is actually to follow the teachings of Jesus.
Oh my God, these
Jesus
people.
said in Matthew 7, verse 21,
It's like they just repeat them. It's I swear it's so far. They're like another thing you got to do, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be something new that we haven't heard before. Follow the teachings of Jesus. You're like, fucking goddamn, man. How many videos do we have that just say that? Like, all you should do is to say, be a Christian harder, just Christian more, just do it harder and more.
not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but the one who
No,
does the
no.
will of my Father who is in heaven. This is not just a verse you should know about, but rather one where you do something about. We must actually attempt to follow Jesus' teachings. in addition to believing in him. The Bible says the devil
In
believes,
addition to
the
believing.
demons believe. So believing is actually not the end, but the beginning. Belief should lead to action. Belief should lead to taking up one's cross and following Jesus. Belief leads to a change
It's kind
in
of
your
sad
life.
because like doesn't the obedience part come first with these folks? You know what I mean? Because they're always saying, and it seems like it must work pretty often, that they're always like, you just got to open up your heart to him, just call out to him, right? Call out to God, open up your heart, and then he will show you that he is real. But just basically just pretend that he's real and then just decide that he is real. And then at some point, you'll be like, I was right about that. Like that seems to be like their game plan. It's like just get them to pretend that they do believe by being obedient, and then the belief part will come later. And it's really not even believing, it's just acting like you are believing, because half the fucking time, anytime they get a question that they can't they can't answer, like, pastor, why do bad things happen? Why is there cancer, baby cancer? Why is that? Like, because they can't, they're not actually thinking this stuff because because they were convinced by the reasons that would normally convince a person of anything, that isn't that type of religious stuff. Religious stuff, you don't get convinced of religious stuff the same way you do with just regular stuff.
If we are able to be in a state of perpetual readiness, we must commit to following the way of Jesus. And you see, our Lord knows we will.
Dude, Wormford said avoid shame and guilt by not being a Christian. Honestly, man, that is that is one of the best reasons to not be a Christian, because all it is a cycle of shame and guilt and anger and like shutting down curiosity, and just deciding stuff. You're not allowed to find out anything because you've already decided on everything. You can't ever learn anything because you've already decided what is real. It's really sad. And then that just leads again to like shame. And then a lot of times you're just trying to be as holy and Christian as the next person, and it just never works. You're always disappointed. You're always shamed. And then you're always stuck in that forever cycle of getting the shame, getting rid of it, getting the shame, getting rid of it. It's pathetic.
Will fall short. He knows we will not be able to live out his commandments perfectly. He knows there will be days when we will struggle. There'll be days where we'll struggle with anxiety, worry.
Then
or
what's the
maybe
point?
anger. God-
Wouldn't you rather, like, and this is true, look, when you're always going to have bad days. That's like a normal thing. Everybody goes through that. But wouldn't you like rather go through bad days like with a sense of curiosity and like actually being able to figure out ways to limit the amount of anxiety, instead of always having the same answer that never does anything, just rely on Jesus? Wouldn't you rather have, like, if you have an anxious day, like actually go to a therapist who can actually help you with something, rather than just being like, just do the Jesus thing more. That's all we got.
God knows this. And that is where there's grace. When you are truly saved, when you have truly repented, you find that there is godly sorrow when you sin. There is no enjoyment. And so we must commit to following the path of righteousness and then receiving the grace of God to cover our shortcomings. And let's be honest, there are many believers who say Jesus, but choose not to follow the commands of Christ. They don't want to love their neighbor as themselves.
What?
They don't want to.
Do you know anybody like that? Name me one fucking person that's like, I just hate, people. I would just rather hurt people, but I don't want to get locked up. So I just hate all the people. I just wish I could hurt them constantly. There's nobody like that, man. It's a natural inclination to treat other people the way you would want to be treated, because we kind of have this subconscious thing about not wanting to be a hypocrite. And so we tend to not do things to people we don't want done to us, just naturally, because of mirror neurons.
To turn the cheek and love their enemies. They don't want to take care of the least fortunate among them. They want to do what they want to do.
Yeah.
Don't let this be you.
You're still doing that. Says Jesus. Wimper said, it's you need us. You can't make decisions on your own. Trust us, obey us, and pray. and will do everything for you. They create this dependence and need for stability that makes people scared of. Yeah, that is an excellent scared of change. Yeah, change or independence or responsibility. Thank you. See, that was like the biggest problem. Honestly, when I was like taught all this stuff growing up, it was like, you know, you keep on being taught that you need something, you need something, you need something. And you know, after coming out of like addiction and stuff like that, you know, dealing with mental addictions like nicotine and alcohol and physical ones like opiates, a lot of it, the mental ones anyway, have to do with beliefs. It's all about believing that you need it, believing that you can't function without it, believing that you need to relax after work and you can't relax unless you have this thing. That's all bullshit. They're all just false beliefs that you get stuck in your head, you know, because you're rationalizing things around an addiction that you don't want to acknowledge is actually there, right? But religion sets people up for that shit. It sets you up to go get you addicted to that, and they love it. They love it when you like leave the church and then you feel like you need something. You feel like you're out a fish out of water, right? Because you're now away from your religious group or whatever. So then you're like, okay, well, this, you know, this drink chemically removes fear. Let me just do this and it'll make me feel better. It sets people up for that shit, you know, and then, yeah, then they can't fucking stop. And it's really sad that they keep running back to church. And this is exactly what church people want. They want them to run back to church to get to solve that problem that the church caused in the fucking first place. For me, it was like once I quit my delusions, I was able to quit like that. It was not hard once I snapped out of my false beliefs. And then it was real easy to figure out that a lot of the reasons that I couldn't stop drinking and using nicotine and stuff were because of false beliefs. You know, that was that was what keeps you doing it. It's what makes you think that you need stuff when you don't.
Don't let it be you with a stubborn and hard heart. Don't be the one who is found to be saying Jesus, but not following Jesus. This is how we live in a state of readiness.
And it's so funny that they do this because this is just that there's a million different interpretations of that, man. Like, and there's so many different interpretations. And now they're, you know, the Christians of today don't even like what Jesus actually said and stands for. You know, they rationalize it away so that they can be cruel and heartless and hate immigrants and all this other shit.
This is how we avoid the statement, if I had more time. You do have time. The time is now.
Yeah. Or if we say getting stuck in AA and NA, which pushes churchy shit. Yeah, it's honestly, I think that shit's worse. I think people would be able to do better on their fucking own than going to AA where they just keep pushing like, oh, you got to rely on something else. You got to rely on that's what got you there to begin with, is relying on something. You don't need to rely on anything. You can do it on your own. You don't need anything, you know, chemically at all. You need nothing. You can function just fine. I know you don't want to believe that. You can't. It's fine. Other than I would say like mental health meds. Like don't I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about addictive stuff, okay? That you believe that you can't live without. That is a false belief. And you can easily see if you just recognize that you just don't want to do it anymore and decide not to do it. And I have a really good method. If anybody wants just message me on Discord afterwards if you need, you know, if you want any resources for that.
This is how you live life without regret and in fullness. Follow Jesus.
Those are some tight jeans. That's like, I have these exact jeans right there. Yep.
Follow the one.
Everybody always gets on me like, oh, you know, skinny jeans have been out for a while. I'm like, dude, I've always worn skinny jeans. Like I was a punker, man. Like we always wore the same stuff. I don't go in and out of fashion. Okay. I wear tight pants, tight shirt, and jackets and shit, you know, and this hat.
Is the way, the truth, and the life.
A room full of Christian students were asked the question, how many of you believe in science?
Andrew said some people are required by a court to attend AA/NA. Hashtag separation of church and state. Yeah, dude, it's so annoying. And I mean, and because of that, they don't like stop sending people to AA. What happened was AA was like, oh, well, we're cool secular people. You can totally be secular here, man. It's totally cool. And then like, but the second, I think it's this, the second step is having to rely on a higher power. And they're like, well, okay, what about the atheists? Like, well, your higher power do you have a teddy bear? because you can make that your higher. But can you just pretend that you do believe in God? God damn, you're making this so hard for the rest of us. You know that you're making this difficult for everybody in the group now. This is your fault for not believing stuff. Like that's sort of what they do. Like, can you just pretend to be like a Christian over here so that we don't have to deal with your bullshit, but people are still court ordered to go to places like that because of that little stipulation, even though it's basically it's not for secular people at all.
Signs and wonders. Someone quickly said, it depends on who they're from, the devil or Jesus. The professor
Who's this guy?
responded
What is this guy?
and said, regardless of who they're from, how many of you believe that signs and wonder can happen?
That signs
All the
and
hands
wonder?
went straight up. He then asked, so you believe that Jesus Christ can perform signs and wonders? The class was in agreement. Yes, he can. Then the professor asked, do you believe that the devil can perform signs and wonders?
The devil's always a ring wraith for some reason. I don't know why that is.
Students hesitantly answered. With no real conviction about the answer to this question, most students put their hands up. Then the professor said boldly, Matthew chapter 24, verse 24.
What professor is
For
doing?
false Christ and false prophets will arise and perform great signs and wonders so as to lead astray, if possible, even the elect. You see, many people believe that only Jesus can perform great signs and wonders.
The sad thing is nobody's doing signs and wonders. Not the true, like what you would call the true Jesus people, or the not true Jesus people, nor the fucking Satan people, nor literally anybody except maybe Chris Angel. That guy is incredible. One time he got under a trash can and then he was like 3 floors up. It was insane. I don't even know how did he do that. But other than Chris Angel, there's been no religious people that and his name is Angel, which is kind of unfortunate, but that do signs and wonders. That's not a thing that they do, and it makes me wonder, like, do you think like maybe back in those days the magician, the sleight of hand people were like much more religious because they could make people believe that they were like actually magical more than we can today? I don't know, just something to think about. And if you want some wonders in the bedroom, just go to adamandeve.com, enter code word Brently at checkout. That's BRENTLY at checkout to get 50% off almost any one item, 3 free gifts, 6 free movies, and free shipping on the whole order. And the packaging is discreet. It's 50 years of satisfaction guaranteed, America's most trusted source for sex toys. Just go to adamandeve.com, enter code word Brently. That's BRENTLY at checkout to get your exclusive offer. All right, y'all. This is so fun. And I will be back to a morning show tomorrow. Switches back to my own schedule. And I am still working on some pre-recorded ones. I actually have one up that I worked on that is on Patreon. So if you're a patron, you can watch it. I'll probably release it at some point, but I'm going to keep trying these things, try to make better and better ones. But hey, if you want to support the show, the best way to do that is to like and subscribe if you made it to this point. I'd really appreciate it, and share the show around. You can always become a patron. We'll put that in the show notes. But if you want to do a one-time payment, which is very helpful, you can go to Cash App, and my cash tag is Punk Apostate, all one word, and that would be very helpful. Whenever you can do it, all helps. It's huge. But so make sure that you stay logical, loving, skeptical, and compassionate. And we will see you next time.